What's up guys, this is Shana. Today we're going to check out Sky Awani 5 Residence or Sky Awani Residence 5. Yeah, we are in Sentul by the way. Let's go. We are now in Sentul and we have checked out several projects before, but on this side of town, this seems to be the first one. And looking at the surrounding, is all landed properties, rumah-rumah, kampung. Suddenly you will have one high-rise here, another high-rise here. And this one seems to be the newer one, but from a facade point of view, I gotta say, it's nice. And then from an infrastructure point of view, the roads here are pretty narrow and Malaysians continue doing their thing. They really like narrow roads, so they further narrow the whole road. And this is something I don't understand. Right in front, they are just motor parked at the open lawn area here. I thought I would appreciate the distance between the road to the residence or the tower. I was trying to just highlight, we haven't seen yet, but at the corner there's like this pavilion structure. Then I reconfirm again, is this a rumah whip or this is a normal standard market product? Apparently this is a rumah whip and there's a lot of news about it, so today we're gonna check it out. Let's go. So coming in from the project, this will be the main guardhouse, and coming in, this will be the lobby, and you can see that it's going to be somewhat like a lantern at night that looks super cool. The amount of glazing is full, solid, right? So here you will have concrete stamping treatments. I don't think you have budgets for pavers, but this is very good already with that organic lines pattern. For convenience, there are also this courier system, just in case you are busy working, right? The delivery courier person can just hand this over to you safely, and this is also provided with CCTV as well. And coming up, we are in the lift lobby right now. The ceiling height is 2.4 and the width is 2.63. In terms of brightness, it's pretty nice because you get a very big window here, but they don't put it entirely as a window. They kind of insert louvers as well, so you don't really need air condition to be a little bit more cost effective. Then the ceiling is no plaster ceiling, but you can see the lights are flush, very nice. You have tiled flooring and it's actually divided into two access. Let's check out the floor plate. So as we are now here, there will be one block and two blocks in total, but they kind of just join via this fire escape here to kind of reduce the gap between two blocks. If I were to split it, I will have a minimum distance and it takes up more canvas. So this is how they kind of increase the efficiency of the whole building. So in total, there will be 12 units, 8 units on one side, 4 units here, serviced by 3 lifts. And it's all arranged in a double loaded corridor format. So the exclusive one will be on this side because this side is only single loaded. Then right from the lift lobby, this will be the refuse room. We can smell some of it. And this will be the access into the refuse room. It's kind of deep inside, but this is the size, 2 bins. There's a ramp, very thoughtful. 1.5 meters wall tiles, and there will be a window. Nice. And I do like that there is already a window here to kind of keep the smell in check, because if not, this one directly will flow into the main lobby. There were a glimpse of it, but I think it's still manageable lah. Then from the lift lobby again, they will be partitioned by a fire rated door, and this will be the air voids on 2 sides. Okay, going in. The width of the corridor is 1.64 and the height is 2.47. So you have floor tiles for the entire corridor, which is the entire maintenance process. For the void area, then you will have spray paint within the internal walls, very nice. And there will be a very gentle slope to the parapet walls to gently let the water flow through in case there's any. But I don't think there will be any water because there's no drainage within the corridor. So most likely within the void on top, there will be a roof lah. And check out the end of the corridor. Wow, so they have one side which is all knuckle window, and this is access so people can actually go out if they want to. Wow, what a nice little partition before the fire door. So I think here people can smoke. So coming in, this will be the foyer, and I must say this is larger than a lot of standard market units. The width here is 1.45 and this will be a depth of about 450 mm, so you can perfectly fit in a full-size cabinet if you want to. Not only that, this is an extra space. Wow, what a luxury to have. That's why I was wondering, what is this side door next to all units? All units have this leh. Wow, is it this? Rumah berjuta-juta pun tak ada ni. So this will be the unit that we're going to check out today. This is Type A, a 3+1 bedroom unit. So the +1 we have just checked out just now. So coming in from the foyer, you will have a utility at the side. Then at the end here, the L shape, that will be the kitchen. Then here you will have your dining, living and balcony. Splitting the bedrooms on two sides. One will be the master bed with the master bath. Then here you will have one bedroom here and two bedroom. Shared bathroom here. And not only that, you also have a yard space at the corner. So these will all be natural ventilated for cost measures. Very good. And here you can see that it's all shear wall system. So coming in, the clearance of the door is 880 mm. So it means that this is a 900 by 2001 mm door. Coming in, you have your dining, living, balcony. Then this will be the kitchen already. And just by first glance, the ratio of the back of house versus the entire layout, this is so nice. So the size of the kitchen, width 2.2 meters, length 2.8, and it's so open, which also means that the possibility to furnish the house is purely restricted by your budget. Because here you can perfectly do a breakfast counter, you can make a sideboard here, and you can make an L shape, even a partial U shape cabinet, full extent all the way. It will look so good. You can even not put the breakfast counter here, but somehow include it here to be a nice breakfast counter before the dining area. Wow! But it's all about budget. But I like that there's a window here that connects over to the void. That's nice. Wall tiles up to 1.5 meters, and not only that, it includes a yard space as well. Wow! So the size of the yard is 1.45 by 1.5 meters. You can perfectly put in a washer and dryer here, and the walls are spray painted. Their pipings are partially exposed, and if you look into the ceiling treatment, they are also very tidy. And this partially connects over to the void space, but this is where you can fix your aircon within the latch, and it's not too dangerous because there's a proper platform. Very nice. In terms of flooring for the yard space, they're giving a smaller one, the 450 mm ones. But for the rest of the unit, they're providing 600 by 600 mm tiles all the way. So the wall-to-wall width here is 2.62 meters. The height is 2.84 meters to the soffit level. This is where you can really feel the actual pricing of the product already, because from the entire experience coming into the unit, you don't feel it at all. But here you can really feel it. So it gets kind of tight here, but that is to allow more space for rooms at both sides of the unit. Going through, this will be the balcony. And let's check out. So the width here is about 760 mm. The length is about 2.62 mm, just like the wall-to-wall width inside. Partial brick wall, partial steel handrail. And this will be the unit facing inwards. So distance to distance wise, I think it's fine. Looking towards the temple. And here we have M. Arisa, we have Vox already. And that will be the army campsite. So in terms of the sliding door, it's not as smooth. I'm not too sure whether is it a installation thing or a quality thing. There is no tinting at all. And let's just test noise isolation. Very good. So on a personal level, I've always wanted to check part of the Sky Awani series, as I've heard a lot of positive feedback from the audiences saying that they really do affordable housing with a lot of pride. And looking into the design so far, I have to agree. And we are now scrolling through Property Guru website. The rental partial furnished for this unit is about 2,000 per month. Fully furnished can go up to 2,003 to 2,005 per month. For selling price then, the market rate goes for about 330,000, and I'm not too sure how much they bought. 280 should be around there. And what a proper demonstration of perfect execution based on the budget allowed. Because it's perfectly normal for a lot of consumers to tie the building quality to the price of the project. Actually, no matter what price your project is, the wall should be straight, the roads should be in compliance, swimming pool must be in order, facilities must be in order, all piping must be in order, regardless whatever price range. A 3 million house, door must be straight. The 300,000 house, the door must be straight too. Doesn't mean that it should be compromised or whatsoever. And unfortunately, a lot of government projects around this price range all are involved in the abandonment because costs they cannot cover, profit margin very low, are hit and affected by COVID. You got a shortage of manpower, shortage of materials, sudden rise in costs, right? A lot of people just abandon. Luckily, the government can come and save. But these are the examples of developments that the market should follow. All I'm saying is there is so much pride for all the design measures, but if you look into the items, right, like, is this narrow? Yes. But is it livable? Yes. But when you think about the layout, you have a yard and a storeroom outside, kitchen is amazing, build quality is solid. That is what we want. The only thing to debate then is the location of the project, because that will determine highly on the overall cost, because it's ultimately land cost. Moving on, let's check out the common bathroom first. It's located in a foyer between 3 spaces. They are providing Sorrento for basin and Sorrento for WC. Full height wall tiles, no shower screen. This most likely is installed by the Makeover Guys team. Then you will have a big window here that is frosted for privacy reasons. Very nice. But the only thing I think they can improve on will be the aircon piping compliance, because this will be the aircon pipe. Then in terms of the height of the switches, it's very nice. Bedroom 1. This is 2.45 by 2.36. Can you put in a queen size bed? A bit challenging, honestly, right? But you have windows on both sides. It means every bedroom in the layout gets access to the facade. You get fresh air. Wow, this is very nice. Because for a lot of other products within the market, right, the only window that you get is the one facing the internal void. And this one, you can see the corridor outside is always that privacy thing where people can always look in. So most of the time people will just tutup blanse, never buka one. And when you look into the size of the window, is also bigger than expected. So both of them look identical, and the size is a 900 by 1 meter window opening on 2 sides of the room. That is very nice. Again, tiled floorings with skirtings. So after you close the door here, I guess you can squeeze in a single bed with table and wardrobe. Double bed again can, but you are pushing it. Moving on to the next room, this will be the second bedroom, and the window is also having the facade view. Very nice. This room then is significantly bigger, 2.55 by 3.1 meters. That's why after you put in a queen size bed, you still got space for bedside tables, even the wardrobe here, and you still have circulation space. Very nice. And this will be the area where it indicates that this ultimately is still a cost-centric project. So the opening is still very limited, but I appreciate it a lot already. So this is how the window looks like and feels like. Solid. Another part where cost might be a little bit more sensitive, it's the amount of switches available in the room. So usually it's about 2 to 3 standard market price one. This one looks like there's only 1 per room. Yeah, just be informed, okay? Moving on, this will be the master bedroom, and the size is 3.12 by 3.07. Solid size, so at least it's a 10 feet, where you can put in a king size bed and you still have room for your wardrobe. but due to the budget, that's why they're just putting a loose one. You can perfectly fit in a custom one if you have the budget based on your intent lah. So if you're going to stay, then you do whatever you want. Then this will be the view that you get across 3 window panels here, and those are the scary things that to take note around this area lah. So there are a lot of other developments within the location, all leveraging on similar elements of this location, which is that matured amenities, the distance to the city versus the price of the property, which is the value that you get lah. But ultimately, Sentul here, you're connected right outside Jalan Ipoh, Jalan Kuching, and we have covered the connection to Duke Highway before. So on this side of Sentul, coming in from Duke is way easier, and you get to avoid the school time punya jam lah, because ultimately the main road into Sentul is still controlled by traffic lights. For the master bedroom, then there will be 1, 2 socket points, so it's very good. Technically, the wardrobe need not to be here, because here after the door there is a very big space here for you to put in your walk-in wardrobe if you want to. But you need to coordinate the design a little bit. So what all I'm saying is, if you were to stop the door here, then this can perfectly be your wardrobe space. If not, this one a bit wasted lah, so much space, right? And anyway, this will be the bathroom. Similar treatments, full height wall tiles, shower, window, there's frosted Sorrento basin and WC. Another indication of the cost-centric approach will be the door, because they are rather light. But in order to achieve the price, it's inevitable, but what I like is the construction, the build quality of them. I think nothing much to pick on actually. And that's all for the room. Let's go check out the facilities. So now we just came out from the lift in the facility deck. The first thing I like already, the ramp into the facilities deck. I gotta say, first impression wise, looking at the budget, you wouldn't have expect a property price at 300,000 to have facilities like this. So let's just start with flooring. You can see that they are organic lines drawn out, highlighted using pebble wash, mixing with the tiles of different colors, giving you that prelude before you get into the swimming pool. Okay, so there's a wading pool for kids, and then this will be somewhat the play pool for adults, and there's a proper segregation for safety reasons, and it's 1.2 meters depth, so this will be the maximum depth you can go without a lifeguard. And then you almost have an infinity edge. I think it's good enough. Glass handrail, and you have an island-like landscape within the pool area. Wow! So the organic lines of the pool and the floor pattern, right, really breaks away from the very linear lines of the building. That one, you need to squeeze in as many units as possible in the most efficient way. Here, they get to be a little bit more expression based. And just something to highlight, if you look into the position of the columns and structures, they are perfectly reorganized via the transfer structure here. So you can see whatever shear wall that you have within the upper floors of the residence all got redistributed into columns like this before going into the car park. As a result, you will have very nice spaces like this, and these used to be treatments for atas projects only, but now for a 300,000 project you get facilities like this. Not only that, in the space like this, because we have seen projects where they didn't do transfers, so you will have somewhat the structural layout of the room within, and the developer will just squeeze in whatever furniture to call it whatever room it is. But this one, they don't do that. So this is a pretty elaborated children playground, and my favorite treatment, it's located within the structure, so it's shaded. They can come here all the time. Rain or shine ke, datang je. So just by checking the data online a little bit, this is a 2 acres piece of land, and they managed to squeeze in about 600 over units. Perfectly fine leh. It doesn't feel as congested. Of course, the facility deck is not as elaborated from my experience point of view, but in terms of finishing, in terms of transition spaces, in terms of practicality, and this is the multi-purpose hall. You look at it from a structure design point of view, very nice. Too bad there's a column here, but because the multi-purpose hall is too big, just look at the amount of glazing provided. It's almost as good as it's open. So here when you have gatherings or events, right, you can just have that poolside thing where it's partially shaded too. Right in front, this will be the landscape treatments, and they kind of elevated it up a little bit so you won't have problems of kids going to the edge and things like that. That will cause safety issues. Well, this is also a measure to keep the maintenance cost in control. Don't get too crazy in landscape, right? Because that one requires a lot of maintenance. Ultimately, the safer choice is still hard floor. On the other side from the pool, this is the indoor games room. You have a ping pong table and a foosball table here. Reading room. And I like the design, although it's just color coordinated, right? But at least it feels like a reading space. Instead of just a label to tell that it's a reading room, it looks and functions like a reading room. Not only that, there are specific meeting rooms. There's individual seats for you to do your work here if you're working from home. Very, very nice space. And right outside this will be the communal area. You can see landscape treatments. Treatments that is trying to soften the structure. You look into the landscape treatments. Pebble wash sitting area. Very nice. But I'm just very, very confused here. We are so close to the city, but all I can hear are roosters croaking away. Right next to the communal space as well, it will be the gym. The amount of equipment is so sufficient. It'll be like 3 treadmills, 2 bicycles, you have an eco bike structure, you have a rower, you have a bicycle machine, a very, very wide free weight zone. Wow. On the last side of the pool, this will be the wading pool area, and I like how they encroach into the shelter. So this is actually covered, very safe for toddlers, and during very hot sun, they can also still come and play. This will be then the supervising zone for parents. Again with the very cool organic lines that softens the structure lines. This will be the barbecue zone. On a platform, raised one sitting area. This is the bathroom. Check it out. Wow. Seriously, right? These are designs that really makes you ponder what's the real difference between a 500,000 project versus a 300,000 one versus a 1 million one. This is amazingly solid. At the side then, this will be somewhat like a lawn area. My only worry is when my kids go wild. But if I then put fencing, then it will be claustrophobic. Maybe I think it's great that they leave it open. So this will be somewhat like a sitting pavilion, and they are using cow grass here for the main area. Oh, baru habis hujan, so a bit flooded here. But what a nice pavilion here. Double story one, just in case it gets too cramped on top. This is where you can hang out. So I think on a dry time, it will be very nice to just chill around. But once again, right, this really demonstrates that price not necessarily needs to be reflected along with the design treatments. I gotta learn, so I gotta study more of their product actually now. I'm gonna be so obsessed. How can a budget of such design treatments? And you look into the basketball court here. You will have fencing, you will have that specific floorings required. So this one water can go through without disrupting the slipperiness of the floor. Basketball, and then landscape treatments with outdoor fitness area. Wow. Then for ground floor boundary lines and treatments, because we are too close to the neighborhood, right? You just look, it's across satu pagar je. But you look at the treatment fencing, then a buffer before the hedges, and you'll have this very nice walkway, again partitioned by landscape before main spaces. Wow, how can they do this at this price? And maintenance wise, I gotta give them a lot of credit as well. You just look into the landscape treatments, right? I'm not too sure whether they just prune this or whatsoever, but it looks amazing. Even the condo that I live in, bukan macam ni. And ground floor there will be a kindergarten, and for safety they also put up the bollards like that. I don't think it's functioning, it's just mere requirement aspect. And that further elaborates my point. Even with all the compliance requirement, like upstairs you got a lot of rooms that you don't know what to do with it, it's just there because it's part of the requirement for development. Even with all those inside the compliance list, they are able to pull this off with flair like this. We are now in the highest floor of car park. well, second highest, and it's a split ramp. So what does it mean? Split ramp means when you go up 1A, 2, 2A, 3, 3A, 4, 4A, but they don't have 4, so they 3, 3A, 3B, 3C. And just to get up level 7, right, as a visitor, we need to go through 14 times. Yeah, so when you pick units like this, it's not like you really get a chance, because to get a unit here is already pretty difficult. But if you really get to pick, it makes a lot of difference. So a hack to this is, a lot of people will just rent those who want to let go their car park at the lower floor, because just to get down, it takes a while. So for most of the units, it will be a tandem car park, that's why it's so limited. And you can see they are still using beams and column system, conventional type. Then you have cement screedings, you will have epoxy paint for lines. But the good thing about split ramp is it's very bright, because you will have ventilation just coming in like that. And it's also because the form of the land is just too narrow. In order to cater for a ramp on the longer side of the land, of the shape, you cannot squeeze in as much car park as they should. So this will be the best solution. But anyway, this will be the characteristic of the site. So you can see there's still some rumah kampung here. Quite a luxury, right? But next to us, we will have all high-rise already. That's the status of demand of space actually. And we have visited Arisa before, which is just right behind. And right in front, this will be that series of schools along the main Jalan Sentul Pasar already. And I guess that's all for the project. I am so impressed right now, but let's do the 3 on 3. The first 3 things I like. Number 1, I don't know whether is this a thing but this does not feel like a project that is done for the sake of compliance, because some people, in order to get this piece of land for development, I'm given another different task to build rumah whip for the people, so I get this project that makes me money to somewhat cover this project here. To me, this project is somewhat built and designed with the intent to either impress or to make a statement. I don't know, because in terms of build quality, in terms of design, in terms of treatments, in terms of specification, in terms of the unit and the level of infrastructure that you get, is just superb value for money. But that originates from point number 1, the pride of doing so. So that's the first thing I like really. The second thing, which is the elaboration of the result from the intent. From the facade itself, you can feel that the name big Sky Awani Residence 5. You look into other rumah whip that is done with not such glamour, you don't even know who's the developer one. But this one, they put up straight away, right in your face, and they highlight with the facade design. Coming in, the entrance statement, you will have the lawn at the side with a pavilion and a basketball court. Then you drive up the elevated car park. That's the only thing that I don't like, but that's due to the restriction of the space, but we'll talk about it later. Then from the lobby, full glazing, and in terms of inclusivity of design, everywhere ramp, lift lobby done really well. Besides the letterbox area, when you are not around, there's a dedicated parcel collection area that is provided. Then when you go to the unit, in terms of privacy, is done very well. When you have 4 units on one side, 8 units on the other, lift lobby width solid, corridor width solid. Then when you come into the unit, they have the utility room in the front, a yard space at the back, and it's a 3+1 bedroom in this 800 over square feet unit. Not only that, all bedrooms will have access to the facade. Like the smallest bedroom, you have windows on 2 sides. Plus, the back of house aspect of the unit, it's a very nice ratio to the overall unit. The only limit to how you furnish the kitchen is our own budget. I can perfectly do a very decorated, elaborated one with the space given. Wow! Then when you come into the facilities, I thought rumah whip can only be achieved at that price range of 300,000 without the elaborated swimming pool, garden space, gym. It just gives basic one, like we have visited a few before. This one, I seriously am pondering what's the main difference between this and the 500,000 one. Not only that, now I look forward to their non-affordable housing project. Like Sky Meridian, Skylux, I haven't seen any of theirs before. But when their 300,000 one is this level, what if it's the 700,000 one? What would they give? And not only in terms of checklist, meaning you want gym, I give gym lo. You want swimming pool, I give swimming pool lo. They do everything with pride. Like from the landscape treatments, you still have this organic organic line to soften the edges of the building. You have a transfer structure, I think it's a transfer plate, where you reorganize all the structural member, so your facility deck area is so well done. Car park area, you have the flat slab beam structure, again very tidy, and that is very close to the third thing that I really like, the level of thoughtfulness. Like if you look into the level of details, right outside you will have this setback. I don't know whether is it a requirement or is it a design intent, but you have the open lawn to somewhat have a breathing space for the tower away from the junction of the main road, because it's a very busy one, we all know that, but at least there's a breathing space for people to kind of just chill a bit. Then the infrastructure from outside to inside, like the street light for the walkway is purposefully done separately from the street light of the roads that is provided by the government authorities. Then the boundary between the surrounding, because it's too close to the shop behind, actually they will have their own boundary, but not everybody followed the rules lah, but it's okay because the boundary walls done very well with the fencing. Not only that, they soften it with the landscape treatments to give somewhat like an extra layer of safety. Then the maintenance is also another level. Like we are there, we see lift being serviced, we seen wall being serviced, we see areas being cleaned up. Equipment within the gym is solid. The reading room is one of the best reading rooms that I've visited. If you compare standard market from a rumah whip level, no need to compare also, right? I think at this point it's going to sound like I am selling the project dramatically, but I gotta say, I came here knowing that it's somewhat like an affordable housing project, maybe half-half, right? Some international, some government compliance thingy, but no, the whole block is rumah whip. If you tell me the project is selling at 600,000, 700,000, I can also believe that, which is the general market standard for new projects around this area. Anyway, the three things I don't like then will be regarding the first thing, the surrounding. It's located right at the junction, not only to the traffic light junction only, it's also to a junction to the nearby neighborhood. And because this is considered a kampong setting, infrastructure level wise, like the road width is not exactly the best, and we have the Malaysian behavior of making it more narrow, so it can get kind of terrible at peak hours. Then you will have other structures on the other side of the building encroaching to the boundary. Why? Like the buildings are so close to the project one, but when you think about setback, it's the other side that didn't comply to the setback area. But it's fine, the developer even set back within their own boundary, which is solid again. But when we studied closely into the materials and the design intent, there are still things that you cannot run away, because ultimately it's still a cost-centric project. So you can see the amount of density per floor plate, and when you have two towers, so it's very clever that they join the two towers together so they can actually squeeze more. If not, you will have the minimum distance between tower that you need to comply with, so you won't be able to do this anymore, but it's fine. Then the size of the window, because window and glazing is a big part of construction cost, so you can see it's really under control. And the width of the living space from wall to wall, so that one is the only part where I felt a bit realistic because everything else is just far too good. Then the number of sockets within every room and the material of the doors, only then you kind of feel like, oh yeah, back to reality. But from a non-industry related person, you won't be able to tell at all. Last of all will be the amount of competition, but I don't think it's competition at all. It's just the amount of supply of brand new projects that is adding to the existing population of the area. So if you look around, a lot of projects that's being launched trying to captivate the attractiveness of the address of Sentul, being very close to the highway, very connected, superb value for money that is very close to KL City. Every other developers are trying to leverage on that. That's why as a result, the roads here are very busy almost all the time. You combo that with the school, you combo that with the market, you combo that with the place of prayers. Wow! But at this price range, value wise, cannot beat this really. In terms of location, in terms of connectivity, in terms of the specification you get as a house. And do I like this project? This project really proves my point drastically. All this while, design intent don't need to cost a lot of money. Right? At this price range, you look into the common area toilet, which is within the facility, that it's so well done. Then you have structures being surrounded by planter box to soften the edges. Then within the car park, it's so tidy, it's so clean, lobby-wise, full high glass walls. I seriously don't know how they do it. Like, what's the profit margin like? Here then, I would be very pissed off if homeowners who buy this to rent out lah. Yes, you can do it, but if the developer is doing this with the intent to help those in need because of their very tight budget, doesn't mean they don't deserve a good product. They also deserve something that is so presentable, but yet you use this to make money, right? Well, that's me lah, right? And I guess that's all for today. Overall, I am very impressed, and I am in the mood to see and check out their other products already. Wow. And I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you really like this episode, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.